Hello, welcome back to my channel. We're starting off the episode with a Mr. McGilded breathing very heavily. Mr. McGilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. We're law students on a study tour from Japan, you see. So, if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'll do our best. What was I after saying, you daft idiot? I've given you 1,000 guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't I? Well, yes, but I wasn't really offering to just stand up there next to you. Okay. Oh, I think I see what's going on here. Sorry? I know what you're thinking. This chancer of a fella claims to have more money than the Queen. But if that's true, why the blazes can't he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? Because he did it. That's the only explanation. Well, not exactly. Not at all. Although, it is a little strange, to be honest. Why you don't have a lawyer, I mean. That would be the fault of the Reaper. Sorry? Did you just say Reaper? Aye, the Grim Reaper of the Bailey, Lord Baruch Van Zieks. He's the prosecutor. Keep changing his accent. I don't know what kind of accent I'm making him have. The prosecutor is the Grim Reaper? The one and the only. When Van Zieks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. That's really disturbing. And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. What? I like his eyebrows. So it's reached the desperate situation where there's no one willing to stand in defense against the fella at all. You could say he's the living legend of the Old Bailey. Goodness, Lord Baruch Van Zieks. He must be an exceptionally talented prosecutor then. You could say that. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, ma'am. It's cursed. Cursed? What is this, Halloween episode? The defendant is summoned and his counsel. Please make your way into the courtroom. The trial's about to begin. His counsel? That'd be me. Duh. Oh, 'tis time. Well then, fella, don't let me down. But I don't know anything about the case. You haven't told me what happened. Until you showed your face here, I'd made up my mind, so I had. What? I decided I'd have to defend myself in there. How would that have worked? What do you think, idiot? But then you made an appearance. A student of law, wouldn't you know? I don't know what accent he has now. 'Tis no accident, I can assure you of that. 'Tis fate. So don't get cold feet now, please. Please? Okay. I literally know nothing about the case or about this man who stands accused. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't just turn my back on him. That's nice. That's good. That's something that we know, yeah. Mr. Naruhodo. The man has no one. He'll have to stand alone in that courtroom, armed with nothing to defend himself. Yes, something that Kazuma would never have allowed to happen. Counsel for the defense, what are you doing? If you're late for the start of the trial, you'll lose your right to stand. You'll have to sit. Or lay down. I'll be right there. That was a lame joke, I'm sorry. It's happening then. My first trial in a British court. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because I have no idea how I'm going to manage this. I still can't believe Kazuma died. And what a lame death. Whoa. This looks so cool. Ooh, lots of witnesses already. Or is that the jury? So, this is the highest court in Great Britain, the Old Bailey. The centuries of history in this place is palpable, isn't it? It's so different to the Supreme Court in Japan. It feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. What? Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. May I say something, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yeah, what? What? Oh, he has a sword, I forgot. Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. I know, but I just can't help it. Oh. His beard is so fluffy. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. Actually, he sounds like he would he looks like he would sound like Theodore Roosevelt, where he has that higher pitch. We are here today to determine the guilt of innocence. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared. That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the underworld. Counsel for the defense, you appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English? Huh? Oh, yes, of course, sorry. But he asked if the defense was ready. And I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. Oh, I love his outfit. Those eyes please me. Nipponese. They shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. Ugh, a cold shiver just ran down my spine all the way to the tips of my toes. And what is this feeling stirring inside me? Now, Mr. McGilded. Yes, my lord. You stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You can be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? As I've always said, my lord, 'tis a grand thing to give in opportunities to the young. Even if the fella is a student from some little island off in the Far East, is it not the British way to ignore the dangers to yourself and give those less fortunate a fair chance? I'd like to think that acts of chivalry do the great British Empire proud. Listen, what a fine gentleman. Did you hear that he donated £5,000? Please, maybe go and play in McGilded Park. Why is there a kid in the courtroom? It seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded. That's definitely welcome news, and he certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him. Yeah, already a lot of weird, suspicious things going on. Eloquently put, Mr. McGilded, and most laudable sentiments. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you that you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed? Yeah, it looks like that's a jury. Yeah. Oh, there's gonna be a lot of voices. Yes, my lord. If the task is to send Rogers to the gallows where they belong, I'm more than ready. Already biased. At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree. Any criminals here will soon be wishing they never set eyes on me. Okay. Oh, look, it's Mario. More like Wario. I feel a chill. Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these mitts for my grandson. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, those people. The jury, yes. That's something we don't have in Japan yet. That's right, I've only ever read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. The judge passes sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. So, the defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view. But how exactly do the jurors give their verdict? That I don't know, but I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses. If I was, like, the accused and I heard my defense talking like that, I'd be so nervous. My lord. It's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you'd renounced your fame. Ooh, a little exposition. I'm known as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. Okay, totally a vampire. What? Or a demon. So, what brings you back? Is there some change of circumstance of which the court should be aware? I bought a new house. I leave that to your imagination, my lord. So, the Reaper's been out of action for 5 years. Why did he have to choose today of all days to make a comeback? Don't lose heart. It's okay. Don't worry about it. As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please. Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity. He did it. End of story. Oh. The incident took place in the late evening, 3 days past. The hour was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks known in the community as Thrice-Fired Mason. Thrice? It's 3. He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible. I like his hat. Oh, I'm sure he's fine. Walk it off. The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time. A dagger that had been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. We'll see about that. Here is the autopsy report from the investigating medical officer at Scotland Yard. Thank you, counsel. I shall accept that and the photograph as evidence. Nice. Okay, we got an autopsy report. And the photo. Perfect. And one further item of evidence. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well. And these are... Is that blood, counsel? Yes, my lord, seized by a policeman who arrived at the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. Mr. McGilda's gloves had blood on them? Yes, I will accept these as evidence as well. Okay, leather gloves. Covered in blood. I'm backed into a corner before I'm even started. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2? Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. And I'm guessing you're gonna say the other one is McGilden. Yeah. Magnus McGilded. Oh, wait. Okay. Defendant, what say you? Oh wait, I did the wrong voice. Well, of course, I have no recollection of such a thing. Mr. McGilded. To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening. But whenever I'm in a garage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness, and I'm always succumb to it. Are you claiming to have been asleep? 'Tis the motion of the carriage, my lord, lilting, so it is, and when I opened my eyes again, 'twas a desperate sight before me. The body of a man I'd never laid eyes on before in me life. Oops. Okay. Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. So, the blood got onto the gloves then after the man had been killed. Yeah, we already established that, didn't we? Unfortunately, that statement of the driver is only the beginning. Oh, that's not it. There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. Oh, she's typing away. Order, 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 order. When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage, and there were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused. Except you'd get hanged, right? So would it be like the rope? Or, I don't know. Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we will hear testimony from these witnesses first of all. Oh, okay. Your wish is my command. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in at once. Ooh, we're gonna meet the... Oh! Even more voices. The last one was so cute. It kind of reminded me of the Radish Head from Howl's Moving Castle. Beppo. My name is... Well, everyone calls me Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End. Bruce Fairplay. I'm a banker. My name's First. Lady First. Lady First. I, make hats for chintz. Looks like you need to fix your own hat. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were in an omnibus and witness to the aforementioned incident. Wait, I thought there was only 2 people in the omnibus. Yes, sir. Quite right. Yes. Okay. Very well then, let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw. Oh, he has pretty green eyes. Here we go, witness testimonies. Okay, what the witnesses saw. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had... Sorry, wait, no. It's not that kind of game. So I had few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then, out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. I couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped the bus, and then I saw it too. What did you see? Unambiguous testimony, I must say. Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. I'd like to ask a question. Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As has been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Well, in that case, how could those 2 witnesses possibly have seen what happened? Yeah, there you go. There's no way they could have seen the inside of the moving carriage. How quaint. I'd read that civilization in the Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own. Dang. But you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? What? Tell me, my Nipponese friend, have you even traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. We only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves. The actual scene of the crime, that is. What? We're gonna go to the scene? A carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much? Yes. The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today in this very building. What? You're gonna bring a bus into a building? Bailiff. Bring forth the stricken omnibus. Yep, we're gonna bring a bus into a courtroom. The omnibus. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. Or stupid. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. Ooh. 4 passengers seated inside in the enclosed cabin and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from the top of the omnibus. And I should point out to our foreign guests that there is a skylight in the roof, allowing a view of the interior from the seats above. Ah, okay. So they look through the skylight. The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. That is how they came to witness the grim incident. Through the skylight. That makes perfect sense, I guess. Well, counsel, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. Okay. That's weird. Very well, I see no reason why not. I mean, I do, but that's fine. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. What? I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence. Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I could help myself a lot by giving the omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. Yeah, I guess. Let us continue with proceedings then. Your cross-examination, counsel? Pray, don't expect this Nipponese stray to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights. All right, my first cross-examination in a British court. Focus. Focus, you got this. Let's go, you got this. Okay, here we go. Okay, what the witnesses saw. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had few customers. I remember it well. Okay. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Okay. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed. I did. I couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too. Alright, so when it happened, the only 2 people in the closed cabin area were the victim and the defendant. And, so help me, 3 whole people witnessed the man I'm going to trying to defend do the deed. I don't like to be pessimistic, but we do seem to be in a rather difficult situation here. Okay. Is Mr. McGilder really innocent? Or could it be... Oh, Yeah, what? That's so lame. I'm like on trial, and then I hear my defendants being like, actually, did he really do it? You're absolutely right. Let's listen to those witness statements again. A little more carefully. Okay. Let's try pressing. Let's try pressing this first one. Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? Oh, yes, sir. That's right. Ever so cold it was, sir. Freezing, in fact. And you had 4 passengers on board at the time, is that correct? Yes, that's right. That's right, sir. Not all traveling in the same parts of the bus, of course, though. And there were no other passengers when the there were no other passengers when the incident took place. No one alighted, for example. You're very right with that, sir. No other passengers like that. No, none. So nobody fled the scene of the crime. I have to say the boss insists on it running, he does, every evening. That last bus of the day. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say. What do you mean? Well, what with it being so cold and everything and only making 20 pence on the run, you see. Yes, I spent that much at the pub on the way home, just trying to warm up again. Okay. The victim and the man accused of killing were sat next to each other inside the bus. I don't know if we should try pressing that. Wait, they were sitting right next to each other? You saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage. That's right. That's right. When you sit up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. Wait, they're facing forward. How would they be able to... Unless they were sitting, like, up front in the bottom carriage, right? There was a lamp on inside, so I had a pretty good view. Oh yeah, all of it's facing forward. Okay, so they were sitting right next to each other. The 2 of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces, but there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilded. How can you be so sure? Well, how can I put it politely? McGilded is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilded. There's no room for doubt here. It's a courtroom. There's always room for doubt. Then, out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. Okay, let's try pressing that one. You actually saw the exact moment it happened? Didn't I already testify to that? Or are fair, dinkum, hard-working city bankers not considered trustworthy these days? Not really. Were bankers ever trusted? This is no good. I've really got his back up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail. Juror number 3, what's the meaning of this? My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. About what? I don't like the stinking rich, never have. They're always up to something or other that they shouldn't be. Every one of them. That little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me. Oh. There's no point in wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway. What? What? We barely started. That's precisely what I was about to say. Oh no. As the foreman of the jury, it's my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors. What? Wait, is that fair to have the foreman of the jury in the jury? Oh shit. Let me see. Yes, it seems that that's how the members of the jury give their verdicts. With fire? Apparently, yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice as we saw a moment ago. So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean... What does it mean? Okay, I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content, and I will see you in the next one. We'll see what happens next. Thanks. Bye, guys.